Part 142. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1411. Chapter 1411. He missed it himself. We have two golden bachelors who can't win the gold of many famous ladies in Yunchinj. No matter how you say they are divorced together. I have brought this all back to see my parents, so I guess good things are coming soon. I really didn't expect that among our group, they would be the first to start a family and start a business. Lu Rao smiled and said, when you meet the person you are destined to be, that doesn't mean you will be single. One day, Yan Xiao may be like this and get married without saying a word. We don't know. I would never do such a thing. Hey, what kind of fate do you actually believe in this? Yan Xiaoqing looked disapproving and expressed disbelief. But as soon as he finished speaking, a flash of him appeared in his mind. A figure that I have been deliberately forgetting these past few days. His expression suddenly changed, and he felt like he was in no mood at all. Gong Zili pursed his lips and remained silent. The person who is destined. He knew that the person he was destined to have appeared, but she appeared too late. It was too late and he had already lost the chance to have her. No, actually it wasn't too late for her to show up. 10 years ago, she appeared. God arranged her to be with him very early and gave him enough opportunities. It was he who missed it. Some opportunities, once missed, will never come again. Yan Xiaoqing turned his head and was about to talk to Gong Zili when he saw that Gong Zili had been following Jiao Mian with his eyes. Apart from Jiao Mian, he never looked at anyone else. And the way he looked at Jiao Mian. They were both men. With just one glance, Yan Xiaoqing could tell that something was wrong with Gong Zili. That look in his eyes is so abnormal. That's not the way you should look at your brother's wife. Yan Xiaoqing suddenly thought of Gong Zili's unusual behavior during this period, as well as the previous scandals between him and Jiao Mian. As he thought about it, his expression changed a little. If his guess is true, then this thing will be terrible. They have been playing together since childhood. The friendship is extraordinary. Both sides are good brothers, and Yan Xiaoqing doesn't want to cause disharmony between the brothers because of some things. In the end, even brothers don't have to do it. He stared at Gong Zili for a while, frowned, bumped him lightly with his elbow, and said in a low voice, "Fourth, come with me, I have something to tell you." After speaking, Yan Xiaoqing turned around and left first. Gong Zili watched his leaving figure, stood there for a few seconds, and then followed him. Lu Rao watched them leave one by one. After thinking for a moment, he curled his lips meaningfully and turned to talk to Bai Yisheng. Shen and Mrs. Shen standing aside had ugly expressions on their faces. She asked Shen Ro with a dark face, Ro, who are those two women? Mo Yesi and Mo Shixia were both the future sons-in-law that Mrs. Shen first chose. She originally thought that due to the relationship between the Shen family and the Mo family, her daughter would definitely be able to marry into the Mo family in the future. Whether she is married to Mo Yesi or Mo Shixiu, she is a noble young lady of the Mo family. Unexpectedly, the two future sons-in-law she was interested in were not interested in her daughter. Mrs. Shen naturally thinks that her daughter is excellent and perfect. Neither of the two sons of the Mo family likes her. This is definitely not her daughter's problem. Coupled with the fact that Mo Yesi and Mo Shixiu have not had a woman around them for so many years, Mrs. Shen felt that the two sons of the Mo family most likely did not like women. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1412. Chapter 1412. Are you provoking our Bai family? So later, she also gave up the idea of letting Shen Ro marry into the Mo family. But when she saw both the Mo brothers bringing their female companions to the banquet tonight, Mrs. Shen felt very uncomfortable. If the two brothers of the Mo family are both normal and interested in women, it means that they are really not interested in her daughter. Shenrou's face was even uglier than Mrs. Shen's. She almost broke her teeth and said through gritted teeth, "Two shameless vixens. The men of the Mo family have such bad taste that they actually like such a coquettish woman." Her voice is not quiet. Bai Yushen was talking to Lu Rao. When he heard this, he turned his head and looked at her with a stern face. "I advise Miss Shen to be more cautious when speaking. Did the tutor of the Shen family teach you to slander others behind their backs like this? The Shen family and the Mo family, we are still family friends. Do you think it is appropriate for you to say these things?" Bai Yushen doesn't seem to be a good-tempered person to begin with, and when he has a sullen face, people don't even dare to breathe in front of him. He can be said to have given Shenrou no face at all. As soon as she said a few words, Shenrou's expression suddenly changed. She didn't notice that Bai Yushen was there just now. She never thought that her words would be heard by others. Seeing Bai Yushen defend Xiao Mian like this, she felt angry and jealous, but she didn't dare to refute even a word. Today's Shen family can no longer tolerate her doing whatever she wants like before. In the past, others looked at her face and spoke. Now, she is the one who speaks based on other people's faces. Let alone the Bai family, now even those small families who are not as good as the Shen family are not something the Shen family can offend at will. Shenrou hated her current situation. Everything she encounters now is a shame to her. Seeing her daughter's aggrieved look, Mrs. Shen couldn't help but feel distressed and said, "Yushen, you also said that the Mo family and the Shen family are family friends. Rura just can't stand those two women. She feels sorry for the two children of the Mo family. What did she say wrong? Besides, those two women probably have nothing to do with you. Do you need to speak for them? I think Rura is right. Those two women are not good women at first glance. The men of the Mo family really have poor taste. They look down on the good ones, but they actually take a fancy to this kind of thing. What a look." Mrs. Shen's words seemed to express some injustice for Shenrou. Her daughter is so excellent in all aspects, many times better than those two women. The two Mo brothers are blind and cannot see the excellence of her daughter. Mrs. Shen did not know the relationship between Xiao Mian and the Bai family when she said these words. So, when she noticed that Bai Yushen's face was getting colder and colder, and his eyes were looking at her like knives, she was stunned, with a trace of confusion in her eyes, and she didn't know what she said wrong. Mrs. Shen. Bai Yusheng spoke again. Her voice was extremely cold and did not contain a trace of warmth. "You said in front of me that my sister is not a good woman. Are you provoking our Bai family? My sister, Bai Yusheng, is the best in the world. She is worthy of any man. The Bai family has nothing to lose to the Mo family. My sister and brother-in-law are both talented and beautiful. They are a perfect match. They are a perfect match. It's a perfect match, but it's a pity that it's not your turn." Mrs. Shen was stunned for a few seconds, and then her expression changed. "What, your sister, aren't your Bai family still looking for? In vain, I thought your Shen family was well educated and the daughters they educated were well behaved and sensible. I never expected that the Shen family's tutoring was so bad." Mrs. Bai, who was belatedly arriving, had just arrived when she heard someone talking. Her daughter is not good. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1413. Chapter 1413. Then take care of your daughter. When he saw that the speaker was Shenrou, thinking about what she had told Xiao Angzhen to impersonate before, he became even more angry and his face became even more ugly. The appearance of Mrs. Bai made both Shen and Mrs. Shen change their expressions. Shen Ro's face was stiff and she twitched her lips. Bai, Aunt Bai. Don't call me that. Mrs. Bai's eyes were full of anger and her voice was cold. No daughter of my Bai family is worthy of anyone, no matter her family background or appearance and character. No matter how bad she is, at least she will in terms of kindness. People like you are incomparable. The Shen family is also a well-known family. Didn't Mrs. Shen teach your daughter how to behave well? For a lady from a wealthy family to talk about others behind their backs and speak so unpleasantly, I have seen the Shen family's upbringing and etiquette today. I can't care about what you say about others behind their backs, and I don't want to care about it. But if my dear daughter is slandered like this, I won't just let it go. Mrs. Shen's face changed again and again as she heard this, with confusion in her eyes. Sister Bai, is there any misunderstanding in this? Your daughter? Your daughter hasn't been found yet. Who are you talking about? Mrs. Shen doesn't know yet that Mrs. Bai has found her daughter. Of course, she didn't know it, and she had offended the Bai family invisibly. Mrs. Bai said coldly, there is no misunderstanding. My Zioki has been found. Mrs. Shen, I don't care if your daughter still has any thoughts about my son-in-law. She has not given up. If she affects my daughter's happiness, don't blame the Bai family for adding insult to injury. It took me more than 10 years to find Zioki. She is the treasure of our Bai family. If anyone dares to treat me badly, then don't blame me for being ruthless. If you can't discipline your daughter well, let someone else do it for you. Mrs. Shen has been a pampered lady for decades. People are always polite to her wherever she goes. Except for her husband, no one has ever given her a bad look. She was spoken to so shamelessly by Mrs. Bai, and she immediately felt that all her dignity had been lost, and her face looked as ugly as she could. She didn't know who Mrs. Bai's daughter was at first. After she slowly guessed it, she turned her head in surprise and looked at Jiao Mian who had already walked in front of the old lady. Sister Bai, your daughter is. Don't call me sister, I don't have a sister like you. Madam Bai interrupted her in a very disrespectful manner. It's good that you know, then take care of your daughter and don't let her stare at other people's husbands anymore. I heard that the Shen family is anxious to marry off their daughter. If Mrs. Shen wants your daughter to get married as soon as possible, she'd better teach her well. Otherwise, with her current character and upbringing, I'm afraid no one will dare to marry her off. This is a bit unpleasant to hear. Mrs. Bai is not such a sarcastic person who would hurt others with bad words. Only this time, she couldn't bear it anymore and was really angry. Her such a good daughter was actually called a vixen. How could she endure it? Mrs. Shen and Shen Ro were turned blue after being talked about, especially Shen Ro. Thinking of all the humiliations they had suffered these days, anger, sadness, and strong hatred surged out for a moment. But neither she nor Mrs. Shen dared to talk back. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1414. Chapter 1414, You are not the one who is wrong. Today, the Shen family has no capital for them to talk back. Even if it is humiliation, they can only bear it. Shen Ro clenched her fists and bit her lip, leaving a deep mark. At this moment, she hated Jiao Mian with all her heart. She couldn't bear the humiliation any longer, and with tears in her eyes, she turned around and left. Rura, where are you going? Just wait for me. Seeing her leaving, Mrs. Shen immediately turned around and chased after her, still muttering, what I just told you, you Cheng my aunt's son. Both mother and daughter walked into the crowd, and gradually their voices were no longer heard. Shen Xian was still standing there, her eyes were red, and she was biting her lips. After a while, she turned around and said to Bai Yusheng and Mrs. Bai, Aunt Bai, Brother Bai, I'm really sorry. I'm taking the place of my mother and Mrs. By my sister apologizes to you. I know they went too far, but just saying sorry can't win your forgiveness. But, I'm really sorry, Shen Xin said, bending down and bowing to apologize. After all, there is a truly sensible child in the Shen family. Mrs. Bai looked at Shen Xin's appearance and sighed softly. She walked over and took Shen Xin's hand and said warmly, Zioxin, your mother and your sister did something wrong. You don't have to apologize for them. It's wrong, the person is not you. Shen Xin raised her head, with tears in her eyes, but, I am from the Shen family. And Bai, don't worry, I will have a good talk with my sister. I will never let her influence Sister Qiao and Brother Yesi. Emotion. Sister Qiao and Brother Yesi are really well matched. I also hope that Sister Qiao and Brother Yesi will always be fine. My sister, she just can't let go for a while, but I will persuade her well. Anyway, I want to say sorry to you again. After Shen Xin finished speaking, she bowed and apologized again, then turned and left. After watching her leave, Mrs. Bai sighed softly, this child Shen Xin is quite good. They are both daughters of the Shen family. Why is there such a big difference? Asterisk. Mo Shixiu led Zhang Luli to the old lady and Mo. He felt that Zhang Luli was getting more and more nervous, his palms were sweating, and the hand he was holding his hand tightly. Mo Shixiu squeezed her hand soothingly and introduced her to the old lady and Mo, Grandma, Mom, this is the Luo Li I told you before. Luo Li, these are my grandma and mom. The old lady had been looking forward to meeting her eldest grandson's girlfriend early in the morning. Knowing that Zhang Luli would come tonight, the old lady even prepared a gift for the first meeting. So when she saw Zhang Luli, she first looked at him carefully, and then a smile appeared in her eyes. The future grandson-in-law her eldest grandson found for her is so pretty. She is as handsome as her second grandson-in-law. One look at her and she knows that the little great-grandson she will give birth to will be particularly good-looking. The old lady heard some specific information about Zhang Luli from Mo Shixiu earlier, and knew that the Zhang family was not a famous family, but just an ordinary family. Even worse than the Qiao family. But the old lady felt that with the current status of the Mo family, it would be nothing even if her two grandsons did not find well-matched ladies and daughters. She values character more. At the beginning, the old lady naturally hoped that her two grandsons would find well-matched spouses. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1415. Chapter 1415. It is impossible to let this woman into the Mo family. But as Mo Yesi and Mo Shixiu got older and there were no women around them, the old lady became anxious. The requirements are getting lower and lower. Especially, her requirements for Mo Shixiu have been lowered repeatedly. In the end, not only did she have no requirements for family background, but she also did not have high requirements for appearance. I felt that as long as it was a woman, it would be enough to solve the lifelong problems of her eldest grandson. So when she suddenly saw that Zhang Luli was such an outstanding-looking girl, the old lady thought it was an unexpected surprise. The requirements were not high at the beginning, so when I saw Zhang Luli again, I was naturally very satisfied. The old lady was just like when she first met Jiao Mian. The more she looked at her, the more she liked her. She couldn't help but stepped forward and took Zhang Luli's hand and said warmly, "We Shixiu have really good taste. We have found such a beautiful girlfriend. Grandma likes it when she sees it. Luo Li, when you get here, it's just like at home. Don't be restrained. There are so many guests at home today. Grandma will have to entertain the guests in a while. She may not be able to take care of you then. Don't think too much about it. You'll be busy later. It's over, Grandma will talk to you for a while. By the way, This is the first time Shisiu brings you home. This is Grandma's gesture. Please accept it, the old lady said as she took a bracelet from her wrist and stuffed it into Zhongli's hand. Inside. Mo Shixio and Zhongli were not married yet, so the meeting gift she gave to Zhongli was different from the one she gave to Chiao Mian. The Mahist family has rules that certain things can only be given after marriage. But the bracelet the old lady gave Zhongli was also a very good thing. That is one of the accessories she often wears. Even Zhongli, who didn't know anything about jade at all, could tell that the bracelet the old lady gave her was quite valuable. How dare she accept it? Just as he was about to push it back, he heard Mo Shixio beside him say, "This is Grandma's wish, please accept it." When my younger siblings came to our house for the first time, they also got gifts. Well, Luoluo, just accept it. Chiao Mian nodded. Grandma also gave me a gift. After hearing what they said, Zhongli hesitated for a few seconds and nodded slightly. She carefully put away the jade bracelet. Thank you, Grandma, for giving me such an expensive gift. Sure enough, as Chiao Mian said, the old lady of the Mo family is very easy to get along with. The old lady's affirmation made Zhongli feel less nervous and uneasy for the time being. But the expression on Mrs. Mo's face didn't look happy. Looking at the two vixens her son had brought back, she was so angry that there were no smiling faces. If it hadn't been for tonight, she wouldn't have come out to see him. Sending a face-to-face gift means that she acknowledges the girlfriend her son brought home. So Mrs. Mo didn't prepare anything, and she didn't plan to give Zhongli any greeting gift. No matter what, she couldn't let this woman into the Mo family. So when Mo Shixio turned around and introduced Zhongli to her again, Mrs. Mo had no expression on her face and just called out coldly, "Ms. Zhang." This Ms. Zhang was distant and cold. Anyone could feel it. She was obviously dissatisfied with Zhongli. Zhongli could feel it even more. End of this chapter. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1416. Chapter 1416. Don't talk nonsense about your daughter-in-law. Because Chiao Mian had vaccinated her, she didn't feel too sad. She had known for a long time that her and Mo Shixio's family backgrounds did not match, and his family would definitely dislike her. It is impossible for everyone in the Mahist family to accept her. She felt very satisfied that the old lady liked her. But no matter what Mrs. Mo's attitude was towards her, Zhongli still politely called out, "Hello, Auntie." Mrs. Mo looked at her indifferently and said in a cold tone, "The visitor is a guest, Miss Zhang, have a good time." After she finished speaking, she ignored Zhongli, raised her head and said to the old lady, "Mom, I'm going to entertain the guests." The old lady frowned, but in front of so many people, it was hard for her to say anything to Mrs. Mo. Can only nod and say, "Well, you go ahead." Mrs. Mo turned around and went to find her usual best friends. As soon as those best friends saw her, they pulled her over and asked one after another, "Who are those two girls? Are they your daughter-in-law? It's okay for your two sons to spend their whole lives without saying a word. All the big things have been solved. But your two daughters-in-law look strange. Which famous family are they from? Are you really married? Why didn't you hold a wedding?" Mrs. Mo didn't know whether her best friends were really curious or mocking her. Anyway, she sounded sarcastic. She said with a dark face, "Don't talk nonsense about my daughter-in-law. Isn't it normal to bring a female companion to a banquet?" Female companion, a best friend glanced at the old lady and asked, "But, I just saw that the old lady gave her a very expensive bracelet. That bracelet must have cost tens of millions at least." She can be casual. For a female companion. Yes, your eldest and second son have never brought any women to banquets before. She doesn't look like an ordinary female companion. These two girls look young, but they are pretty. I just don't know where they are from. The two young masters of the Mo family are so outstanding. If the other party is not a particularly outstanding person, they will definitely look down on them. However, these two girls do look familiar. Wenpei, do you know which family they are from? The more Mo listened, the uglier her face became. Of course she couldn't tell her sisters the true identities of Chiao Mian and Zhang Luli. If you say it, you will definitely make people laugh. How to say? Tell people that both of her sons have found actors. This is not enough to make people laugh out loud. I've said before, they are just female companions brought back by my son. Don't ask me about the rest, I don't know either. The marriage partners of Asi and Shisiu must be the daughters of famous families who are the same as our Mo family, not some cats and dogs. All women can do it. Is that so? Her best friends naturally didn't believe it. Just now the old lady took off the bracelet and gave it to Zhang Luli, but they all saw it. If it were an ordinary female companion, the old lady of the Mo family would never give a gift. However, several people saw that Mo was obviously in a bad mood, so they were discerning enough and stopped asking any more questions. Asterisk. At tonight's banquet, many people brought their daughters. At the beginning, I was thinking that the two sons of the Mo family were still single, and I felt that my daughter might still have a chance. If you are lucky enough to be attracted by one of the two brothers from the Mo family and marry into the Mo family, they will become in-laws with the Mo family in the future. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1417. Chapter 1417. What is your relationship with Master Mo Chen? With the Mahist family as a support, we will have nothing to worry about in the future. But after seeing that Mo Yesi and Mo Shixiu both brought their female companions back, they gave up the idea. For a time, Chiao Chen, a young master who had just been recognized by the Mo family and had no partner yet, became a favorite. Even though he is still young and does not need to think about marriage yet, he cannot stop the women who are interested in him. Many women walk towards him with wine glasses in their hands. From the perspective of these women, Chiao Chen is already extremely good looking. When he gets older, he will become even more irresistible. At that time, more women must be attracted to him. It is better to strike first and find a way to deal with him now. He is the only son of the second master of the Mo family. Marrying him, even if it is not as good as the most important eldest young master and second young master of the Mo family, it is still much better than those ordinary wealthy families. It is the Mahist school after all. After a while, Chiao Chen was surrounded by 3 or 4 women. Chiao Chen is young and has little contact with anomaly. He seems a little at a loss in front of this group of women. After all, he is young, and no matter how calm he pretends to be, he is still a little shy in front of this group of women who are older than him. Master Mo Chen, let me toast you. A woman raised her wine glass, smiled charmingly, and made a gesture of clinking glasses with Chiao Chen. Seeing this, another woman also raised her glass and said delicately, Master Mo Chen, I want to toast you too. Nice to meet you. Can we be friends? Chiao Chen cannot drink alcohol. But this group of women didn't know. Seeing that Chiao Chen stood there without responding, the woman raised the wine glass again. Is it possible that Master Mo Chen looks down on us, so he doesn't even want to drink with us? Yes, Master Mo Chen, don't you want to drink a glass of wine with us? Not me. Chiao Chen frowned and was about to explain when a familiar voice suddenly sounded from behind him. I'm sorry, Chiao Chen is ill. He can't drink now. Don't respect him anymore. Xiao Chen was startled when he smelled a familiar aroma behind him. A few seconds later, there was another person beside him. He turned his head in surprise and saw Shen Xian raising her head to look at him. The moment their eyes met, Xiao Chen's eyes flashed and he was a little afraid to look at her again. Shen Xian looked at him for a few seconds, then looked away and took a glass of wine from a waiter. "I'll toast some of my sisters for this glass of wine." As soon as Shen Xian said this, Xiao Chen lowered his head and looked at her in surprise. Several women were also stunned. One of them frowned and said dissatisfied, "Shen Xian, what is your relationship with Master Mo Chen? Why should you drink with us on his behalf?" "Yeah, we don't want to drink with you. Young Master Mo Chen hasn't said anything yet, how do you know that he can't drink? It's funny, who are you trying to show off like this? Do you think Master Mo Chen will be moved by your actions and develop a liking for you?" These women knew Shen Xian. In the past, they naturally would not have dared to talk to Shen Xian like this. But now, there is no telling when the Shen family will go bankrupt, and the Shen family sisters are no longer the ones they fear. This group of women have always been dissatisfied with Shenrou because they were dominated by Shenrou in the past. No matter how dissatisfied you may be before, you dare not do anything. Now that the Shen family has lost power, they no longer need to worry about anything, so they can vent their resentment against Shenrou on Shen Xian. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1418. Chapter 1418. I'm not interested in you old women. Shen Xian squeezed the wine glass tightly. For a moment, she didn't know how to reply. Yes, who is she from Xiao Chen? At best, their relationship is just that of classmates. And they are classmates with whom we are not very close friends. What position does she have, standing here and saying these things? He probably didn't want to see her either. From the time she stood up until now, he has not said a word. Do you think her behavior is too pretentious, or are you a little annoyed that she interrupted his good deeds? However, his current body cannot drink alcohol. Even if he thought she was nosy and therefore disliked her even more, she couldn't just watch as he didn't take her body seriously. Thinking of this, Shen Xian took a deep breath, suppressed the grievances and sad emotions, straightened her back and said, "I am Xiao Chen's classmate and his good friend. He is ill and cannot drink with you. So I drink this glass of wine for him. Don't drink with him again." After Shen Xian finished speaking, she raised her glass and wanted to drink the wine in her hand. However, the woman who just spoke sneered and said in a very disdainful tone, "You said you would drink for Master Mo Chen, so why not drink for him? Master Mo Chen is paying no attention to you. You are not a good friend. It's really ridiculous. You really know how to put money on your face. Shen Xian, who do you think you are? Don't you have any idea what's going on with the Shen family now? When you saw that the Shen family was in trouble, you followed your sister's example and were so eager to get close to a golden person. Marry yourself. But Master Mo Chen likes you. That's right, she is really thick-skinned. Young Master Mo Chen didn't even pay attention to her, and she even said that she was a good friend of young Master Mo Chen. It's so embarrassing to put some gold on her face. From this, it seems that the Shen family is really in trouble. They want to rely on their two daughters to find a good marriage and get married. But do you people in the Shen family think that everyone else is a fool? With the current situation of the Shen family, there are who wants to clean up your mess. Haha, it's really funny. I still think that I am a wealthy young lady. I have no self-awareness at all. Several women spoke to each other in as harsh and vitriolic a manner as they wished. They all took the opportunity to confront Shen Xian. Now everyone knows that the Shen family has lost power, and these people are also very realistic. How can they still be as flattering as before? Possible. How can they take the Shen family seriously now? Naturally, there is no need to worry about offending the Shen family. No matter how strong her psychology is, Shen Xian is still a girl in her teens. After being sarcastically attacked by several people, her psychological defense gradually collapsed. She clenched her fists, her eyes filled with mist. She opened her mouth and was about to fight back when she heard Qiao Chen, who had been silent behind her, speak out. The young man's voice was cold, even with a hint of coldness, and he looked at the women who attacked Shen Xian without any warmth. You are the ones who are ignorant of yourself. Shen Xian is my friend, what's going on between me and her? It's not your turn to be irrelevant outsiders to judge. Originally, I didn't want to say something too harsh, but since you are so ignorant, I'll just say it. He looked at the faces of several women that suddenly stiffened, and said with disgust in his eyes, I'm not interested in you old women, don't show off in front of me again. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1419. Chapter 1419, I felt like she was dreaming. Several women's faces suddenly turned blue. Unexpectedly, Qiao Chen would slap them in the face. Originally, when they saw Qiao Chen ignoring Shen Xian, they thought that Qiao Chen was not interested in Shen Xian, and that's why they said those words to please Qiao Chen. Unexpectedly, Shen Xian and Qiao Chen were actually friends. And Qiao Chen also spoke for her. This shows that the relationship between the two is indeed good. Master Mo Chen, we. The women were embarrassed and embarrassed. Qiao Chen did not look at them again. Under Shen Xian's stunned gaze, he took Shen Xian's hand, looked at her with dark and clear eyes and said, follow me, I have something to say to you. Shen Xian was stunned. The moment Qiao Chen held her hand, her whole body seemed to be stupid, staring at him blankly. At this moment, she felt as if she was dreaming. No, even in her dreams, Qiao Chen had never been so gentle, and she did not dream of Qiao Chen holding her hand. Even in her dream, he looked very cold and was not very kind to her. So at this moment, she felt that it was not real at all. Even though she could clearly feel the temperature of the young man's palm, as well as the little tightening and strength of his fingers when he held her hand, she still felt that it was not real enough. Doesn't Qiao Chen hate her very much? Didn't he tell her not to pester him anymore? So, he probably hates her. How could he speak for her and defend her in front of others? Shen Xian Qiao Chen lowered his head and saw her looking at him blankly. Her eyes were still red, and her eyelashes were stained with tears. The tears had reached the corners of her eyes, and she was holding them back to prevent them from flowing out. Thinking about how she was ridiculed by those women just now, she must have felt extremely aggrieved. I almost cried. He has known Shen Xian for so many years and knows very well what kind of person she is. She is just a charming young lady with a lot of money. She has lived a pampered and privileged life since she was a child and has no idea what suffering is in the world. From childhood to adulthood, she has lived a very smooth life. This time, it must be the first time she has encountered a setback, and it is also the first time she has suffered such grievances. In the past, before the Shen family fell into power, no one would have dared to do this to her. Looking at Shen Xian like this, Qiao Chen suddenly felt heartbroken. He would rather Shen Xian always remain a proud and superior young lady than see her become like this. The Shen Xian he knew should not be like this. Come with me, okay? I have something to tell you. Qiao Chen couldn't help but soften his voice and said to her again. Shen Xian slowly came back to her senses. She lowered her eyes and looked at the hands she and Qiao Chen were holding together, and moved her fingers unaccustomedly. The next second, She felt Jiao Chen hold her hand tightly. Hold tightly as if afraid that she would pull her hand away. This time, Jiao Chen turned around and left the banquet hall without waiting for her to answer. Asterisk. Leaving the lively banquet hall, Jiao Chen took Shen Xian to the back garden of Mo's house. He didn't stop until he reached a place where there was no one around. When she was alone with him, Shen Xian's heart beat rapidly and she was so nervous that her palms sweated. Jiao Chen slowly let go of her hand. Under the moonlight, the young man's delicate and pale face seemed to be a bit charming, so beautiful that it took people's breath away. His eyes are extremely dark, and his lips are as red as a rose blooming at midnight, but his face is much paler than ordinary people. If there really were vampires in this world, they would probably look like him. End of this chapter. I secretly got married to a super boss. Author, Dance Lightly. Chapter 1420. Chapter 1420. What are you thinking about? In legend, vampires are a very good-looking group, and they have many more outstanding appearances than ordinary people. Shen Xian's love at first sight for Jiao Chen also started from his appearance. She felt that Jiao Chen tonight was different from usual. It's even more heartwarming. Just looking at him for a few seconds, Shen Xian's heart beat like a drum, beating fast and hard. She bit her lips and took a deep breath. After a few seconds, she slowly raised her head and looked at Jiao Chen. Jiao Chen, thank you just now. Jiao Chen pursed his lips and said, it's nothing. You were just trying to help me, that's why I should have done what I did. Shen Xian, actually you don't have to do that. I didn't plan to drink with them. If you don't come, I will reject them too. Actually, Jiao Chen was explaining to Shen Xian. He has no relationship with those women. He is not interested in those women either. But to Shen Xian's ears, it was a different story. She thought Jiao Chen was blaming her for being nosy. Her eyes suddenly dimmed, and her heart seemed to be stabbed by something, making her feel uncomfortable. Sure enough, you think she is nosy? I'm sorry. After a moment of silence, she held back the sad feeling and said in a dry voice, I was too troublesome. I won't do that again in the future. Jiao Chen was stunned. After realizing that she had misunderstood him, he frowned. Shen Xian, I don't mean to blame you. I am thanking you, can't you hear it? Shen Xian's eyelashes trembled. I am indeed busy. If there is a woman you are interested in, I can go back and explain it to you. There have always been many girls who like Jiao Chen. He is the most popular one in school. Now that he has become the young master of the Mo family, more and more women will like him in the future. Among those women, there will be many who are better than her. The Shen family today is no longer a good match for the Mo family. And after Jiao Chen becomes the young master of the Mo family, there will be too many high-quality women for him to choose from in the future. When the time comes, he will definitely choose a woman who is as powerful as him to spend the rest of his life. No matter who you choose, she will not be chosen. In the past, she had always been worried that Jiao Chen's family background was not good enough, and that even if they liked each other, it would be difficult for them to be together. Worried that she would not be able to convince her family to accept him. What's funny is that now the status of the two people has actually been reversed. That's good, now she doesn't have to worry about these problems anymore. After hearing what she said, Jiao Chen suddenly felt a surge of anger in his heart. Looking at her indifferent expression, his anger became even stronger. Those women are all much older than me. I don't lack maternal love, and I don't lack maternal love. I'm not interested in brother-brother relationships. If there was really a woman I liked, would I still bring you here? Shen Xian, what are you thinking about? Jiao Chen was really angry, so his tone was not very good, and the last sentence was almost yelling. He suddenly got angry and lost his temper at her. Shen Xian was stunned for several seconds by his yelling. Her eyes were sore and her eye sockets suddenly turned red. She was ridiculed by those women just now, and she held back her grievance and did not cry. But as soon as Qiao Chen yelled at her, she couldn't hold back her tears instantly, and tears fell uncontrollably from the corners of her eyes. End of this chapter.